All right. So,
And you also start the conversation with saying, look, I don't want to waste your time. You make it about them, and it's not about you, like you said, Michael. Being super, to the point and aggressive. It's more so, look, I don't want to waste your time, which is why I need this information from you to make sure that it's actually relevant. Because if it's not, then we may as well know now.
100%. And look, so are you guys seeing any specific market segments rise, i.e. international, domestic, downsizer, retiree? Are there any kind of, what do you reckon? This one for you, Michael, up first.
Nothing that's really stood out, except to say that it's definitely been more domestic than it has been international. And that being said, though, probably I would say this time last week or towards the end of last week, we started seeing a bit more of a spike in the international inquiry. But initially, it was pretty much purely just domestically driven. So that would be not so much of a spike, but more to do with what sector has regressed. So the domestic market certainly maintained a healthier level over the internationals. In terms of first home buyers, second home buyers, third, there was a pretty much an even spread again. Nothing really sort of separated one from the other.
Yeah, I mean, this is an important question because I think it kind of reflects what are the changes in the marketing strategy.
It's an important question that would get answered far better by both of us, probably if it was asked at the end of July. The fact that it's sort of 5 weeks worth of activity, where 2 weeks of it was a bit of shocks, which means it's really only about 3 weeks worth of true sort of market, and market environment. I just think that it's so early on, it's really hard for us to answer that question. But there is one thing that stood out for me this week is the amount of conversations through Instagram, through emails and FaceTimes with the people that I did know, but more particularly ones that I didn't know that have been able to research Whitefox whilst they've been abroad. And they're the expats that are working in the UK, in Singapore and stuff. There's probably been, 8 conversations in the past 2 weeks with those types of buyers that I would have never really spoken to in the past.
Yeah, look, we've seen about an increase of about 20 to 30% growth through most of the Southeast Asian markets coming to urban.
Yeah.
And we've seen a small drop, like equivalent kind of drop off from the UK and the US. So it's kind of just reflecting where, the countries that are getting it under control are looking abroad in places like Australia. Whereas I think the other guys have got a bit more kind of preoccupied a little.